Good evening and welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation. It is Monday night all over again. And tonight our special guest is Mr. Stan Harrison. Thank you, Stan, for being here. Who had been a sponsor for the Fresh Book Festival for at least 7 years. Stan wears many hats, but tonight he is being celebrated as a first-time author. Welcome. I'm just so glad to have you in the hood with us. I've been asking for years and years and years. So thank you for being here. Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation is sponsored by Eyeless Diamonds, LLC, brought to you by Milton McCulloch, author of Love and Emancipation and host of Night Talk, L.D. Robinson from Ladero Press, and the Fresh Book Festival 2022. Put it on your calendar. It is 6, 7, 8 January 2022, and we're so excited about what's coming up. If you have any questions for Stan, please put them in the chat box at the end of the night. We will go back and see what you got to say and see if Stan will answer those questions. And so good evening. If this is being recorded, I wanted you to know that because I have to. That's the law. And your name will not show up in the black screen if you do not want to be seen. Stan, thank you. Welcome. Please take a moment to introduce yourself to our guest.
Well, good evening, family. Most of you know me, but I am Stan Harrison, and as we say, also known as Stan the Insurance Man. But today we take off the insurance hat, we take off the financial hat, and we put on the author hat. So this is my very first publication. I'm extremely excited, very thankful to all of you for your support, especially the ladies to the left and the right of me, Miss Donna, and of course, Miss Angie. Without you two, this would not have been a special event. So a little bit more about me. I'm a young man who grew up in the hood, as you say, Donna.
Well, I'm talking about the authorhood, not the hood. But okay.
But I grew up in the real hood, an avid fisherman, an avid lover of all things, who just want to do something new and something different for this community.
So tell us really quickly about your fishing program, because everybody does not know about that. It is phenomenal. I'm not a theologian, so I'm not going to quote that, everybody got to fish and then they'll learn how to fish. But you can please tell us a bit about that project that you do.
The premise of the project is to teach each person how to fish so that they can feed themselves for life, as opposed to giving them a fish and they feed themselves for a meal. So the program officially started here in the United States in 2007. Our very first event was in Virginia. We continued the project here in Florida. My best friend and I, Eldridge, we did what is called a mental thinking about what more and what better we can do for our community. And we thought, what better way than to serve our youth by giving them something that they can use for the rest of their lives. So we thought about it and we said, hey, let's look up and see what other programs are out there. We found the academic English fishing program. We gave them a call, and I believe, this was back in 2008.
Yes.
We gave them a call and they invited us. We came up to Melbourne, Florida, Cape Canaveral. We joined that event, and within 1 year, we had created a new branch of that program in Miami, Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, and we have been ever moving since. Our premise is basically to teach children the art and the fundamentals of fishing. We teach them each aspect in terms of knot tying, casting, identifying the fish, safe boater, you name it. We even give them hats, t-shirts, tackle boxes, and fishing rods. And then we take them out on a deep sea fishing adventure where whatever catch that they have that's legal, they're able to take home. What's beautiful about this is that they get an entire opportunity to be away from anyone else.
Right.
They are strictly under my CCC care, custody, and control. And these kids, just watching their eyes and watching their spirits just lifted, because they're not confined to the home front. They're not confined to what I consider electronic devices. They're allowed and have the opportunity to really expand and do the absolute best that they can out in the real world. So we really get an opportunity to test their skill set outside of the norm, if you will. And because we equip them with the education and the equipment, now they're able to do it on their own.
So we're going to ask just one more personal question about you, right? With all the firsts going on, you are now a grandfather. So tell us how, I mean, I was excited and I had nothing to do with it, but tell us, I mean, I was just like at the reveal, like, oh my God, oh my God. So tell me how it feels. I'm kind of jealous too, so I'm gonna just say that. But
Don't be jealous,
I'm just
because you can always be God grandma. You're all good. It hasn't happened yet, so we
no,
still.
right. But just the announcement, how does that feel?
It felt almost surreal. I'm still in denial a bit. I'm not old enough to be a granddaddy yet,
Right.
as my sister.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
My sister calls me Paw Paw at this
Oh no,
point.
no papa.
So we'll see. So all I want is a healthy person right now. We do know that it's going to be a boy. So I just want a healthy young man.
Yeah, that's
Someone
really
that I can get to, someone I'll have the opportunity to take fishing.
that part. Yeah, somebody come on now. You know how to do this. Let's get
That's
it
right.
done. That's wonderful. So
That's
you
right.
are in the authorhood, and I'm so excited. We've been talking about this for 5 years. So for you have to come into this hurdle, it means a lot to all of us because everybody's got a story to tell, but most people don't tell it. Tell us what inspired you to finally write your book. Besides me and Angie.
I've been wanting to write. Nephew, how you doing, brother? I've been wanting to write a book for 13, 14 years. My premise, of course, is on the financial and education side. I've always wanted to give our people an opportunity to learn how it's done in terms of the level of discipline and understanding the key fundamentals and what to do and how to truly benefit from their decision making. So my entire mindset was always on writing a book on the how. I've gyrated from how to start an account, how to begin an investment portfolio, how to generate cash flow, how to eliminate debt. I've become a master of all these different elements. So I say, one of these days, I'm going to put them all together and teach our folks how to truly do this. The more I wrote, the more I realized that I'm duplicating things that are already out there in terms of the financial books. So when I would go to the bookstores and when I would go to the libraries, I would realize that most of what I'm thinking about has already been written. We know that the secrets in life lies between the binders, and that is the books, of course. So I figure, well, what's wrong with one more secret? What's wrong with the secret that I've developed and learned through the years? Because I've been in this field for over 25, 30 years. I've been teaching folks how to understand finance and investment. So what better way to give back than to put it on paper? The more and more I begin to do that, the more and more I realize that there's more to my life than just money. I have a past, I have experiences, I have wisdom. So let me take a little bit what I do for the kids and let's put it on paper. So what I did was I sat down one day in my office and I just wrote down everything that was very important in my life as far as experiences are concerned, in addition to fishing. And I hit this subject matter that has often come up over the past 15 years. And that has been, how do you overcome a tragic divorce situation or a tragic breakup, or what we call in the hood PTSD? And that's essentially what it's called, some form of stress disorder.
Right.
And I realized that over the years, I have spoken to several men, several ladies, of course, in my field. It's not just about finance. It's about a spiritual uplift. It's about, getting your mind back in order, spirituality, psychology, socializing yourself back into the world after you are no longer with that other person. And what I realized is that a lot of the experiences over the years have helped me develop this idea that there is life after that situation. So I began to write. I had a teacher, and I have to give her a lot of credit, Miss Mathis, in the 4th grade from Olinda Elementary. Anybody knows about Miami knows about Olinda. Has been a very proud school, and she taught me the fundamentals of free writing. So I began to write, and I realized that all of this stuff began to pour out of me. And I realized I'm on to something here. And I called a good friend of mine. They may be in this particular audience or not, and pitched the idea to them. And they say, why not? Sometimes having a cathartic position is beneficial to your heart. So as I begin to write and think about why is this important, I realized how many people I would be able to help beyond just their finances. So
Mm.
that was the inspiration behind it.
So I would be remiss if I didn't introduce Miss Angie Ransom Jones, who is the co-author, because she's the ghostwriter, of the book that Stan has written. Um, Angie Ransom Jones is an author, a ghostwriter, and a corporate financial person. Welcome to Zoom In on a Fresh Conversation, Angie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm just the ghost tonight. This is all about Stan. So yeah.
But we're gonna at the end of the program, we're gonna kind of explain how that works, if you don't mind, because there might be other people on the call who may be not wanting to do that all by themselves, right?
Yeah.
So the title, first of all, whoever did the cover nailed it. I don't know who that was, but please tell them they could not have picked a better cover. Why the tool, and what is the meaning behind it?
The title of the tool came about again from that initial thought-provoking sit-down conversation that I had with myself about what I wanted the tool or the book to be about. And what I wanted the book to be about was truly useful mechanisms for either building or destroying something,
Mm.
and how tools are used specifically for that. Some people feel that in relationships or in situations, they are being used. And that's what a tool uh, sometimes feels like. If a tool ever had feelings, they would be used and then they would be placed back in the toolbox for
Mm.
future use. But until they're called, they have no necessary use, or they're not important or
Wow.
acknowledged. So the tool is a multifaceted mental, what I call a mental field trip when it comes to thoughts in terms of how we view relationships and how we view our world and how we view our lives. The the hammer, we started off with some very basic ideas as far as a toolbox. Remember that, Angie, back in the day, at least back in the month, if you will. We started with toolboxes, and we talked about hammers and the aspect of finance and how it affects the heart and how all these things are blended together. But honestly, Tamaya did a magnificent job
Oh, is
taking
that
us.
who did the cover? Wow.
Yeah, it was actually, it's a graphics guy that she's really good friends with out of Virginia. Yeah. And but she actually took the vision and ran with it and translated that to him. And that's how the cover came about. So yeah, we love it. We love it.
It's the nail in the heart for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Booker actually has something to do with it also.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah,
It was,
he sent a couple of images that were fantastic, and so yeah, it was truly a collaboration. But I love it too.
I mean, that's the kind of cover you walk in the bookstore, the book nook, whatever, coffee shop, and it just comes out at you. And that's what you want. You want people to run to it and say, what? The tool, what is that all about? And the nail in the heart, yeah, that was genius. So thank you very much for taking the time to make it just right. So I understand you decided to collaborate with a ghostwriter, specifically Ms. Angie Ransom Jones. Tell us about that journey.
Before I go there, I want to just
Sure.
make another point about that hammer.
Okay.
Um, at the age of 5, my father caught me repairing his Timex watch with a hammer. And it has been a topic of our family for many, many years. Yes, Mama Tony, I repaired his Timex watch with a hammer. I have never been able to let down that moment. To the day of my father's death, I would try to purchase him as many watches as possible. And I even gave him my personalized hammer from Stanley, of course, trying to repay him for the Timex watch that I destroyed, trying to fix it. Again, when we thought about the idea of the tool, we also thought about how tools can be used for good. And if you use the wrong tool, it
Mm.
can be used for bad. So let's go to the original question, which is how was it working with a
Yeah,
ghostwriter?
how did you decide to collaborate with a ghostwriter as opposed to sitting down and trying to write it yourself? And specifically, Miss Angie Ransom Jones, just tell us about that journey.
That journey actually began about 3 years ago. We met at the Fresh Book Festival, and I was very impressed at some of the work that she had done with a couple other writers and how she was able to help them birth their works and how she was able to collaborate and assist them. I had no idea what I was getting into, of course. Having my calendar and my schedule, I am very thankful that Angie made herself available and agreed to accept this assignment because let's be honest, I'm not the easiest person in the world to work with. I'm extremely specific, extremely demanding, and believe it or not, she works just like me. We
Oh,
are workaholics. So there have been times that it was 6 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night and over the weekend, and we're hard at it and we're texting each other. In fact, as early as Saturday night, Angie, I think we were going back and forth with questions and things along those lines. So we have a very similar work ethic, and that's what has truly made it work. Angie listens, she's open to my ideas, and she allows me to allow my, what I call my creativeness to go on paper as opposed to suffocating him. And, we have it already set. We allowed this work to be uh, a work of art because it has progressed from its infancy to what it will become. We're not done yet. We have a few more chapters to go, and we hope that this is going to be a bestseller.
no, you're not hope. It will. It will be a bestseller.
Man.
And yeah, it will be a bestseller. So, as a writer, I have characters that talk to me all the time, right? I have one character who's on 14th Street that I kind of left there. And every night he kind of says, "What you gonna do?" I'm still on 14th Street in DC. So tell me about the characters. Have they been in your head all this time, just sitting around, or are you developing them as you go?
The characters honestly were developed as we went
Mm.
on. We originally started one place, we ended up another, we ended up creating different characters to represent different people in different situations. So the characters are multi-complicated, if you will. The characters in and of itself can represent just about anybody. So we tried to broaden the character base where anyone can identify themselves within the character base so that the book will be very well inclusive, if you will. Because of my experiences dealing with men and dealing with family issues and how the destruction of family also destroys the finances
Mm.
of families, I wanted to make sure that we touched on that subject a little bit, but not in a preachy manner. I truly wanted to bring out the spirits of those voices who were never heard, and that's truly the key of how these characters consistently were developed. And we created new characters, and we even took some people that are no longer with us, and we created what we call live spiritual characters that are real people. So
So we're going to jump to 7 since we're talking about that. And I'm asking you, why did you make the decision for the book to have color neutral characters? Like when you read my book, you know that the characters are African American. Did you decide that color neutral was good because the subject as you're talking about affects everybody? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
that's exactly what you're hearing. What you're hearing is this book is not just about a situation. This book is very much spiritual in how we
Mm.
have a spiritual journey uh, in dealing with certain, ills of our past. Not just that, but we have a psychological journey as well. And
Mm.
one thing that we know is spirituality and psychology, neither one of them have a color.
Right.
So we definitely wanted to expand it. We wanted the book to be as open to as many people as possible because I truly think it's going to be a big help for a large group of people, both men and women. Now, let's be frank. It's written from a man's or male's perspective. We definitely included the idea of manhood as opposed to malehood, but we did throw in some ideas of maleness. But we wanted to make sure that this was universal. Some of the characters are definitely what we call keen, if you will. You know exactly who they are when we introduce them.
Right.
But we wanted to make sure that the characters were developed, that they were generic in nature, and that people can identify with them, whether being from whatever culture they're from.
So each of us places a little truth in our books. Why did you believe your book had to be fictionalized?
Because so many of the stories came from real people. We definitely wanted to protect people from the backlash of what other people's opinions may be. We wanted to protect the identity of those people who have openly shared certain information with me. And I think it was responsible as a writer to do it the right way the first time. Since it is my first book, I'm not ready to go ham and throw it out there. And sure, it would have been a New York bestseller, but it would have hurt a lot of people. I realized that if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right, but I want to do it from a level of positivity as opposed to negativity. So we wanted to build the characters and build the idea of overcoming as the central theme in the entire work.
So I had the privilege of reading the first chapter. And I must say that it was poignant to the point where you wanted to come through the book and punch somebody, right? So when you're developing your characters, without giving a lot away for the book, because we want everybody to buy the book, just, give us a little something about the main characters in the book.
Well, the main character in the book is represented in, I'm not going to tell you his name because I want it to be something that you're going to introduce yourself to. But let's just say the main character.
It's a roller coaster now. What you guys listen, this is chapter 1 and 2. So I can't believe what 3, 4, 5, and 6 is going to be like. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it continues. We made sure that it was a nonstop roller coaster.
Oh my goodness.
And to be honest, the intent was not designed that way, but as we continue to develop, and I have to give a lot of credit to Angie because she truly was the creative force behind all these ideas that circled in my head.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that we just kind of threw on paper and said, well, let's try this and let's try this. And it took a lot of effort to make sure that we nailed the characters. So the main character is a gentleman who is going through some things. Let's just put it like that. He's going through some things. There's other people in the story that are going through some things. There's some collaboration going on. There's some discussion going on. But true in and of itself, it's real people doing real things and using real tools to get themselves out of it.
Was there significance in the purse, Angie?
The purse?
Okay. Her purse.
In her purse.
Her purse. No, okay. So I will probably get to that later.
Okay. No. Okay.
Yeah,
Look, that was chapter 1. Oh my God.
That was chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Come on.
Look, 15 chapters later. Okay. I'm like, I missed that part, but
it's
no.
that intriguing.
Right, exactly. I was like, what's up with the purse? Okay.
There could be though. Now that you do that, because things take off, but
I'm just saying. So what about the purse, right? So Angie, why Stan's project?
Oh man. So if you recall, and I guess January, I keep wanting to say last year, but was it last year? We did. It was last year because we did the Zoom.
We did it virtual last year.
Yes. And I remember during the panel discussion at the very end, and you mentioned that there was a gentleman that wanted to know if I had any room in my schedule.
Right, I did. Yes.
And I said, oh, I'm at capacity. And I really was, But when I found out it was Stan, because we had met, you know, what, 2-3 years ago. And then when I spoke with you, because I wasn't convinced yet, Stan, that I was going to fit you in, quite honestly. I didn't know. And I spoke with Donna about it, and she was like, oh, yeah, you got to do this. And so here we are. I think I started February 10th and kind of finished yesterday. So about a 6-month process. And I think it's worked because Stan, again, like he said, he's got a great work ethic. And I'm a morning person. He's a morning person. So a lot of times we've been up at 6 o'clock my time, sometimes 5:30, because you guys are an hour ahead, but I'm up. And that's when my creative juices are flowing. And the characters have really, truly taken on a life of their own. And this has been, I think, one of the most challenging projects. I've done 14 book projects, and this is the most challenging in the sense that I'm trying to think like a man. And it's funny because as we're kind of collaborating and I'm sending things back to Stan, you know, sometimes he's like, oh, that's so cute. You really don't know. We don't talk like that. So it's kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and I live with men, but at the same time, you know, it's been very challenging, but definitely fulfilling. And I mean, I think you guys are in for a wild ride. This is not the only book. I keep saying that he's got to do a series, but I'm going to let him speak to that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the sequel.
Okay. Well, this is probably not going to end.
Right.
And I think, and as you have prophesied already, this will become a bestseller. Therefore, we will have no choice, Angie, to do it again, and probably again and again. So this will go in many directions. You know, there's a lot of good built into a lot of people. And I think once people read it, they'll see the good in it, and they'll see how they can utilize the tools at their own disposal to do good things with. And that's the whole idea, is to find those tools. And we talk about a play on words a little bit. One of the discussions that we had is, you know, in the hood, you know, we have this idea that you're a tool. And we all know if a person calls you a tool, we all know what that means. You know, we're all adults here. However, this book is called The Tool, THE, which formalizes that this is an object to use as opposed to the person being used. So we certainly sensationalize a lot of things, if you will, to try to bring a lot of different elements to the table. One thing about art is that the beauty and the ideas will truly be in the eye of the reader. So we just wanted to give the reader an understanding and a platform to allow themselves on what I call that mental field trip.
So tell me, what do you think that this will resonate with men and women, or are you hoping to get more men to speak about their trauma?
The original idea was to truly get men to open up when it comes down to their trauma, because what we found is most men hold it in. And there is a reason, there is a psychological reason why we die 5 to 7 years earlier. It's because we hold in this idea of stress. We don't know it, but it does exist. And if we can learn to utilize the tools at our disposal, I think it'll truly help our community, because if we lived a little longer, we can certainly be 7 years more of influence to those children. We can teach them 7 more years. We can be there 7 more years.
Right.
We can provide 7 more years. We can protect 7 more years. But all we have to do is utilize the tools that are already at our disposal. So the whole idea is, let's use what we already have to make ourselves that much greater. You know, for years and years and years, we've gone through this process of just letting things be. That's changing things. So the whole idea of this book is to truly change the mindset, change the platform, change the understanding that we don't always have to hold this stuff in. we can talk about it, we can get it out in the open, and we don't have to assume that we are the only ones going through this stuff. Now, a lot of this stuff, personally, I've gone through. A lot of people that I know have gone through it. So we just decided to collaboratively take a lot of this stuff, put it together, so that we can be of good to the community.
You're going to be surprised at the email you get about a portion of your book that you had no idea would affect people, right? And that's when you know that you have done the best that you can do. Right, Angie? When you get an email from someone, you say, oh my God, that really resonated with you, right? And so when you get that, you think, okay, job well done, right? Job well done. So I'll come back to you, Stan, but Angie, you are an author, a ghostwriter, and a corporate financial person.
Yes.
Tell me how you do it all and why you decided to become a ghostwriter.
Oh man. It's definitely a balance, I will tell you that, but because writing is a passion of mine, is my main passion, I fit it all in somehow. Don't ask me how. I do plan to retire within the next couple of years so that I could do this thing full time. Yes. Which I'm looking forward to that. But I'll say one of the reasons too why I wanted to take on Stan's book is what he alluded to earlier, as far as the men. I really think that it opens up a whole dialogue about men talking about their pain in relationships, because you have single girlfriends just like I do, and we all hear the stories of he did me wrong and he did this and this, and we always hear it from a woman's point of view.
Right.
Have not, unless there's a book out there that I'm not aware of, have never really ventured into that, where men are talking about what they've been through in a relationship. And just like a woman can be used, a man can be used also. So this is kind of a combination of all of that. But my journey as a ghostwriter was kind of by accident. Well, nothing is an accident as long as God is involved. We all
right, it's universal, right? Exactly.
Yeah. But after I published Path to Peace back in 2016, it really took off. And just, during my course of doing a 10-city tour and whatnot, I was approached by a couple of different people about, can you help me with my book? And so there was a gentleman that's out of Dallas that was featured on ESPN 30 for 30 that had an incredible story of redemption. So he was actually the first book that I decided to take on and ghostwrite. It was a memoir, and I've been doing it ever since. I just like, I like being in the spotlight when my face is beat and my hair is done. But other than that, I'm just like a behind the scenes girl. I love to write, and I love this. I mean, I remember at his book signing, and just how he was just gleaming just at the fact that his story was finally told, and his side of the story, not what the media put on, not what the newspapers were saying, but his story and what was deep inside that a lot of people did not know. So, since that time, and Tamaya, Liz's story, and just all of the projects that I've taken on, they have to be meaningful. And I felt like in talking with Stan, and just not only about his experience, but the experience of a lot of his friends, and a few males that I even know. And I just thought it was meaningful. And I mean, it's been that and so much more. I think you guys are going to be very pleasantly surprised. And it's got some twists too, and some sex.
Well, I'm all about that. A little bit of sex.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I just think that Angie said something to me, I guess it was last year, maybe the year before. Take your pain, put it on pages, and make paper. Right? PPP, take your pain, put it on pages, and make some paper. Don't keep it, because the same hurt that you have, somebody else has, and needs to either read about it, or feel about it, or be able to reach out to somebody to talk about it, right? So, you think that you're, like you said, you think you're here all by yourself, but absolutely not. There's nothing new under the sun. So thank you so much, Angie. And for those of you who are thinking about writing a book, The Fresh Book Festival has everything you need: ghostwriters, editors, publishers, reviewers, people who can get you started, people who can keep you motivated. So if you think you have a story, email me and we can go from there. So back to you, Stan. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about this book? Anything you want to share with us before we go?
We're not going anywhere. We have another hour.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you. Talk as long as you want.
Do you know how much more we have to talk about this book? There's just so much. So since my homeboy is
Eldridge?
with us, I need to share something that is true and dear to both of us.
Are you talking about Eldridge?
Yeah, talking
Okay.
about my brother L right there.
So that's his son Malik. Hi, Malik.
Malik. So L, bruh, you know, Angie was able to collectivize all of my. So that's an inside joke for those of you who don't know. You know, going back to the 70s, you know, we got some inside things going on. So, you know, truly, I would say that, Donna, I cannot resonate more about your comments regarding getting the email, because as people begin to see the cover and as they begin to experience, you know, what the book was truly about, I began to have doctors and attorneys, and in fact, I had a meeting with an accountant today about the book and how the book, just the idea of the book, has helped so many, and how so many people are eager to grab a copy so that they can share it with other people, just to allow folks to break out. So, you know, Donna, you and I know people who, you know, have gone through this PTSD thing,
right,
and really have not found a way out. So my hope is that the book truly will give folks an out, an opportunity to find their truth. And I have to say that the truth that I've experienced and my breakthrough didn't come from a man. You know, it came from a woman, my woman, Angel, who asked me a series of questions. And one of those questions was the absolute beginning of this book. And it happened about 8 years ago, 8 years ago. We were having a discussion and she asked me this very odd and unusual question at a very odd and unusual time. And
you don't have to share that with us.
Oh, I'll be happy to. Angie, that might be in our next book.
Yeah, right.
But no, it was very innocent, but it was a very, very strong question. And that question really resonated with me. And you know, they say that God is speaking to you when he shakes you like thunder, but it's as silent as a mockingbird. So, or silent as a whisper. That's when I know God is speaking to me. I knew that this particular work, the universe was ready for it, because I didn't know, honestly, that it was in me until it began to come out. And Angie, I think I may have sent you a multitude of emails and notes that I had written over the past 10, 15 years.
Wow.
Things that I had written about, and just to collect, bruh, we collectivized on this, of course. We took all of these things and put them all together. And that's how some of the characters truly were developed, through Angie's, you know, creativeness and taking these things, and how do we take these things and make them relevant. And that's how a lot of the character development occurred, because of all these things that were already there. I didn't create the characters. The characters, Donna and family, created themselves. And that's the beauty in this. This was truly a universal. When I say universal, I mean from the universe, it developed, it happened. And this thing was birthed, it was developed, it was created, and love was truly poured into this work. And I have a special thank you to Angie, because before we started, I shared it with her. And Angie, if you don't mind, I'm going to share it with our family. I've read several of Angie's books, and I told her, this will be your greatest work ever. This will be your masterpiece. She laughed at me. And it was a cute laugh, but I said, you'll see. And as I began to share with her the different key facts and wisdoms that I've learned through the years and placing them all together, and as she began to write and as she began to record these things and put them all together, and truly, she was the glue to put all this together. So, bro, when I say collectivized, man, she truly collectivized. So she put it all together, and I would have to say, and I'm going to allow Angie to tell us if this is her masterpiece so far.
Well, I don't know if she's going to do that. She's got a lot of people under her umbrella.
Well, you know what, though, I will, and when I said earlier, challenging, I'm going to let the readers decide.
Right.
I'm just going to let the readers decide because, you know, again, just, you know, obviously I'm not a man, and just the fact of the characters, and even though the characters are color neutral, they're very colorful. You're going to see that the characters, you're going to, the whole book really takes place, and not telling too much, within a 72-hour time span. You know, and then fast forward to the cliffhanger, but the characters leave you wanting more. And even Stan and I, as we were developing some of them, I'm like, you know, I really like this guy. You got to, you know, put him maybe in series or, you know, book number 3. And yeah, you know, they have just taken on, you know, Donna, they just take on a life of their own. I've, you know, even text him 5 o'clock in the morning saying, you know what, I was up all night because Sterling just wouldn't let me sleep last night.
They don't let you sleep. They don't let you sleep. Right?
People don't believe that. They don't. They really don't. I wrote a letter. I didn't even realize that I had written it. You know, I went back and looked at it, and I was like, wow, I don't even remember writing this. It's that, you know, spiritual and that emotional when you get involved with writing characters that you know nothing about. And, you know, we've accidentally gotten characters pregnant, everything, and didn't even realize. But I mean, truly, they take on a life of their own. So yeah, I'm just glad that Stan is seeing that, because the next time around, I'm really going to challenge him. He's a great writer, you guys. He really is. I've read his journal entries and just other things that he's written. But, you know, I know time is a factor with a lot of people that come to me for help. But I'm going to challenge him with the next book, that he's going to write a majority of himself, and I'm going to sit back and do this and probably edit it for him.
So tell me why you think this left brain, right brain thing, all these financial people have the ability to go from here to here. What is that? Because what is that about? Because you several other people who are authors are financial people, but have this whole other side. Tell me about that.
Well, I can say personally that when I was a kid, I was actually a painter. I was an artist. And finance came about as a necessity. So I had to be good when it came down to money. My community just would not allow me to be anything less. So I was led, and the universe allowed me the opportunity to help a few people at a very young age. And I learned this concept of math and mathematics at about the age of 6. And I began to do forecasting. And once I began the idea of forecasting, and then I layered an element of discipline on top of that. So when you take an idea that you already have embedded in you from an artist, and then you layer the idea of necessity on that, and you bring it full circle. So what happens is that we don't start off being money people. We're created to be money people because of a necessity, in my opinion. But then a bigger thing is a fisherman. A fisherman is always going to think forward. Right. He or she is going to think about what species they're searching for, what equipment they're going to use, what time of day are they going to get up, what can get in the way. So they're going to think about a lot of different things. And I think the total idea, and that's the reason why I love the concept of fishing. And one of these days we'll include that. So who knows, you know, Angie, you may have to really be, I may really challenge you when we start talking about fluorocarbon 40 fishing line and circle hooks and J hooks and things along
And
those.
I've never fished before.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
don't worry.
I've
Yeah,
never
we're gonna
touched
take her out on the
worm.
boat, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna show her what time it is.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think Donna, this left brain, right thing, right brain, left brain thing is a fallacy. I think we all kind of exist in the middle, and depending on what our necessities are, we can go left or right. No different from the fight or flight syndrome. That's left and right. So I believe the universe gives us these opportunities to go left or go right. That's the reason why, and I won't give the next chapter away, but I will say this. That's why so many of us are unpredictable. I'll leave it at that.
Unpredictable. Do I see a collaboration between you and Eldridge on one of these
Probably.
books?
Probably.
Okay. Possible? Yeah. I like it. I like it. So Angie, answer that question. So finance, writing. When did it start?
Well, my answer is not as great as his. I think probably with me, the finance piece of it comes because I love to shop and I'm really good at balancing a checkbook. So yeah, I'm a banker by nature. I've been a vice president at my bank I've been with them for 26 years. So probably out of the last 15 years, I've always worked from home, but I've been in the branch before and just done several. It just comes, natural to me. I love numbers. I love spending money, but I love making it more than I love spending it. So yeah. I'm gonna have to research that Donna though, because the fact that so many creatives,
a lot of creative people come from the finance or have a financial background of some sort. It really, I mean, in the circle that I've been in for the past 15 years, 20 years, right? A lot of people are finance people. So does anybody have a question for Stan? I know there's one in particular. When can we pre-order?
So the pre-order will occur soon. There's a few more things that we have to work out, and then we definitely will let Donna.
It's not a definitive answer for a teacher.
So there. So I mean, Angie, it's not too soon to pre-order, right? Or what?
Yes. We're gonna hold on to that a little bit longer because, like I said, some things are happening in the background, and we want to make sure that we give the people what they want. So, but very soon, I would say probably Stan, within the next couple of weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you when it will be available, and that's for the Fresh Book Festival in January 2022. Any more questions? No? Eldridge, you're not going to ask a question? I guess not.
Actually, Stan, you want to dig into a little bit as far as the difference and the fear that men have with opening up? Wow. Because I know that's going to be part of the book.
Brother, that's deep. The fear is being alone. The fear is feeling like if you did open up, you will be considered somewhat less than of a man. That fear of being ridiculed, of being put down, of being ashamed. And a lot of that is truly embedded. And we have different characters bringing different elements to the table about that. And I think that a lot of that we left up for after the book so that we can truly have some genuine conversations about it. So thanks, brother, for bringing that up. That's key.
So that sounds like a workshop. Yes.
Exactly.
That'll be on the 7th of January. Yeah, the film festival is on the 6th and workshops on the 7th. So make sure you put that on your calendar because I think that would be a great workshop, right? Any other questions?
And before we get into other questions, give me this opportunity to thank the Fresh Book Festival.
Oh, yeah, man.
Because it was here that the creative pushes, if you will, were there. Those little nudges and those, hey, wait a minute, I can do this too, were there. I realized a long time ago that I was a much better speaker than I was a writer, and I'm able to speak it. So the collaboration with Angie just truly allowed the best of me to come out, because I can speak a book in, a matter of hours, or at least a concept of a book, and she can take it from there. So it was truly a godsend to have her be truly a partner with this. So there's a lot of people that truly work
Yeah.
in the book festival, and the different seminars and workshops that we've done. I mean, I can go back to when Malik and Angel and I were at a workshop in Orlando talking about the different elements of books, and we heard some of the most corny jokes in the world. Malik, you remember the baby on board joke?
No comment.
You got to tell us. Now you have to tell us.
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you, these jokes were so bad that you needed a ocean just to bring light to them. So no, we don't want to talk about that.
But there's something about being in a room where everybody, even if all your books don't sell, that synergy.
Right.
And to be able to grab knowledge from people that you say, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Because you haven't been in the business long enough, right? And the fact that you can make lifelong colleagues, friends in that space. And people don't look at you like, when you start talking about, well, this is character over here, and I'm doing this over here, and people aren't like, no, what's wrong with that? Right? Because we're all in that same space of being authors. So yeah, book festival is good for that. I appreciate the universe for making that happen. Yeah, for real.
And
Mhm.
thank you for creating the Fresh Book Festival, and your energy and your creativeness, and how you have been such a pillar in bringing beautiful and brilliant minds together.
It's
Just,
good. I
just
love it.
having conversations with people like Angie and I mean,
Booker,
Booker, and you name it.
you name it.
And we've had some interesting characters.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very good event, and I am very proud of it. There was a question down here which they say, hold on. Oh, can you share the cover? Angie? Stan, can you share the cover? There it is.
Hey.
Yeah, pull it back a little bit. Okay, so do you see the nail in the heart? Okay, yeah, that's the one for me. And the little blood just kind of coming out of it.
And the cash. You notice
And the cash on the side. I can't hear you, Doc Mama. Turn off your
I said, yeah, I see the money in the corner. Yes.
It's a great cover. Yeah.
I look forward to reading it, Stan.
Yeah. So I will entertain a pearl of wisdom from you, my friend.
Today's pearl of wisdom comes from a near dear friend of mine who I met in Oklahoma City. He was a pastor. He passed away less than a year ago, and his daughter sought me out to let me know that he had passed away. But one of the things I truly remember from him is that he and his brother would often collaborate on wise statements, and he shared one with me that has never left me. And I attribute him for this. He says, never put yourself in position where God has to question why he gave you this time or why he gave you this day.
Do you say that again?
Never put yourself in position where God questions why he gave you this time or why he gave you this day.
Okay, y'all, I can't end it any better than that. Thank you for your pearl of wisdom. And congratulations, Malik, for being a daddy. Yay! We're so excited
Kristen's
about
with
that.
us too. Don't forget about Kristen, the mama.
Where's she? Is she here?
She's here.
Oh, tell her, yay. We're excited for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening and joining us on a fresh conversation. And we will see you next Monday night. Thank you, Stan. Thank you,
Much love,
Angie.
family.
Good night.